Yo, what's up, people? How you doing? It's your man Rondell Jordan, aka the Black Swan. I'm here today to introduce you to this website I'm working on called BlackSwanTV.org. I want to thank you for coming. I want to thank you for watching this video. I'm gonna try to make it as quick as possible. It's like my third time trying to do this thing quick. All right, so the first things first is when you first get here, there's a couple things you're gonna notice. You're gonna see this, what we call Egyptian goddess. From this point forward, I will refer to Egypt as Kemet, KMT. All right, Kemet. All right, and in her hand, you'll see the symbol of life, including the woman, the male, and its offspring. All right, so it's an equal balance in necessity when it comes to creating the offspring of life, all right? As opposed to otherwise, death, all right? And because we have that threat every day, we see it in our face. It's done to remind us, what can we build amongst ourselves to secure ourselves from our enemies so that we can be able to survive into the future? And this is a quote from a woman that inspires me every time I hear her voice, Sister Soldier. That is a futuristic, because what are we building? And this is the reason why I began to build this page, because I wanted to build bridges abroad in terms of something that connects the African diaspora, because we are all related in terms of our history, in terms of our lineages, and in terms of our struggle. And African Americans or Afro Americans are actually fortunate. The North ones, the ones that get stimulus checks, the ones that wear Nikes, we are fortunate. We have big screens on the TV, but the mental condition, the mental state in which we live in is oppressive, and we do live as if we're vagabonds and fugitives, constantly looking over our shoulders, afraid of police, afraid of citizens who have prejudice based off of skin color. All right, so I am a black male, as you can see clearly. Therefore, I'm going to have a black perspective, and this perspective is often subdued, censored, right, and oppressed, suppressed in every other media. I mean, you feel guilty sharing posts that have to do with Afrocentric knowledge because you don't want to offend people, and half those people are people that look just like you. All right, and so I wanted a place where we can have real discussion about, you know, real deep, sophisticated topics. All right, and I want to be in a tribe of scholars and create a tribe of scholars. So this is what we're doing, and we focus on scholarship because scholarship is a balanced word that encompasses a economic and educational component. All right, so it's a worldview from studying, and we also have to have an economic basis to that education. All right, so to the mind frame. So that's the reason why you see Afrocentric scholarship and Afrocentric intelligence, which is piecing together the bits and pieces of information that's just been dismantled or fragmented all over the earth, scattered abroad. All right, so I have videos here. A lot of times they may be breaking down news, it may be breaking down a movie such as Undercover Brother 2, which basically they tell the truth hidden in plain sight, surrounded by a bunch of goofiness and Looney Tunes, but they telling us about how the COVID-19 whole phenomenon is and why it came to about before it actually came to about. So these things, as the president said, was artificially induced, and therefore this is a place to be informed. We can talk about these things that are being censored on YouTube, that's being censored on Facebook. I'm telling you, they shut down people's accounts with millions and hundreds of thousands of followers. So that is going to move people into the blockchain. All right, and this is the reason why we want to be among the first people who invest in the blockchain. All right, so we get our scholarship, know thyself, being able to piece together what others are not being able to see, that's hidden in the Bible, for an example, because they're being taught from a religious point and not from a scholar's perspective. All right, and they're not able to understand the man of the dust, talking about the men of the Sudan being made into laborers, right? Tillers of the ground, right? And then that ground not producing fruit for them or yielding fruit for them, but yielding fruit for foreigners. Seth, the god of foreigners, confusion, discord, war, right? And envy and all that other kind of stuff. But all of that stuff I talk about and I break down in the blog. All right, you go into the blog, and what you will see is the book that I'm writing, Proof the Bible is Real African History. All right, and it's basically an Afrocentric perspective of the Bible, a free man's perspective of the Bible, and we break it down, we show it to you, we show you how it was changed, we show you everything in details, even using the tools. As you can see, you can left click the word Kush, and it will show up in your dictionary on your screen, the southern part of ancient Nubia, right? And it represents, in the Bible, is the country of the descendants of Cush. So when we're talking about Cush, we're talking about Ethiopia, right? Depending on which translation you read. So I break down all of these things, you see, and showing you even how there's so much trickery, right? Compasses was changed to skirts and goes towards, and how this was blended in to giving you the direction, like this river goes around the land of Cush, right? This river, Pishon, is once skirts, right? Or they used to say compasses, which is the duality or confirmation that the Bible writers constantly does throughout the Bible, the confirmation of using the same word so that it's known to not be a coincidence, such as created and the word formed in relations to Adam, which I do podcasts on. So it's so much information that have to do with real world experience that I go over there. And of course I do travel, so I'm gonna have a travel section coming very soon here. This is a presentation of a series of GIFs that gives you a kind of almost like a video experience with some words that kind of put you there to inspire you to go get your passport to get abroad, in tradition of Charles Tyler, right? Who was a black brother, man, right, who traveled, and he YouTubed it, and he focused his travel channel on encouraging black men to get their passports, and he supported them in their aspirations abroad. And I wanted to continue his legacy because he passed, and I think that was very important. But I think that his end game was Brazil. I think that a man of African descent has not really traveled until he's really explored and returned to the motherland. I believe Brazil is a magnificent place, and it's a must-go multiple times. I don't know how it will be after the social distances, since its social fabric was the most beautiful aspect of what it was. But with all that said, Brazil was one of the first ports of the African slave trade, all right? the story of Nzinga, the story of Zumbi dos Palmeiras and Salvador Bahia. So these things are pieces of our history that are hidden in the south of the equator, and our brothers and sisters, their history lives in us. So I want to build bridges abroad, and my guides help piece together history from an African perspective and give you a travel experience as well. And I start my collection out with Rio de Janeiro, my favorite city, the marvelous city, the city of God, and then Belize City, the Lord's Bank, and the Belizean people, and then Barcelona, Spain, where of course Christopher Columbus went to Prince Isabella and King Ferdinand and got the funding to start this whole garden over here. And most people don't read Christopher Columbus's book of prophecies, right? That you can Google, and he outlines his 4 pillars of this entire world in 1501, and that's 100 years between before the 1611 King James version of the Bible was published. These things all have real bearing into our reality, and I think this is real history. This is things that they don't teach you in school, but these are fascinating truths about our lives that help us shape how we cultivate our children, and how we cultivate ourselves, and how we cultivate our societies going forward. All right, so as this page loads, because it is a pretty big page, all right, you see here I'm using basically I've created a remote office. All right, an example of what I believe the future is going. I think that if you see more people moving to working from home, okay, you got a large movement of a segment of society that are unemployed now as a result of the economic shutdown, as a result of the flu season. But the point that I want to make here is that an office, of course, you want a nice scenery, and this is scenery from my apartment in Rio de Janeiro last year. As you can see, it's a beautiful combination of architecture, human art, and nature just blended in one view. It's so beautiful. As you can see, I introduced, of course, you got music there, BlackSwanRadio.com is to play. Music, podcasts, different things to listen to while you explore, while you look at the numbers. These are all tools that you will be able to use once you get familiar with the crypto market. You're going to want to know where Bitcoin is selling at, all right, and how well that's doing. If you have money stored in Bitcoin, you want to know that it's not dropping, or what price it's at. All right, and today it happens to be up 3.25%. So that's good news for anybody who has money simply sitting, and you will see your balances go back up. All right. So I also have meters here that help us make decisions on when to buy, and then when we do decide to buy, I have a button that will take me to the market, directly to the specific market that I want to be, so I don't have to go and searching and looking. And as you can see, I have 38,000 digibytes here working. I think I just, let me see. Actually, no, I didn't. I think it never hit the area that I think I'm selling at 1865, and then went to 1863. Never hit my area. But I'm just learning myself, practicing different strategies, and we share all of that stuff here in this area. And that's what I'm doing. I'm using these tools here to really help me stay guided.